This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222. And so there was a great vogue, and a number of companies around the world made instruments to enable that to happen, where the embryo sits in basically a photographic chamber, and every 15 minutes a photograph is taken, and then a video is taken of that, so you can watch the embryo development. There was great enthusiasm that it might improve our selection of embryos. What's happened? It doesn't work. A good embryologist is doing just as well as time-lapse. The time-lapse stuff has, however, given us a lot of good scientific information, so it's been useful as a research tool, but as a tool for selecting the best embryo, it's still not proven. Although what that time-lapse, those pictures have done, what's been done with them is to feed them into machine learning, the 1,000 images on each embryo, and by looking at those embryos that created a pregnancy and then using the machine learning, producing artificial intelligence, we've been able, certainly our own group, has been able to show an improvement in the embryo selection process. The problem is, if an embryo is good enough to transfer and we get it wrong the first time, it's frozen, the other one's frozen, you'll get it eventually anyway. So what's the point? Well, the point is that if you get pregnant sooner, the patient's much happier. And so some evidence now emerging that perhaps we're able to pick the embryos that are genetically abnormal by their behaviour in those 5 days of development. But we're still waiting to see whether that's true or not. So time-lapse, virtually every laboratory in the world has now moved to that. And interestingly, pregnancy rates have improved. But we actually think it's because the incubator is, by not having to take the embryos out every 2 days to look at them under a different microscope, they stay within the same incubator. So incubation conditions remain very, very stable, rather than coming out from a high carbon dioxide environment into the fresh air for 5 minutes and going back again, and change in temperature and those sort of things. So time-lapse, the process and the ability to look at embryos while they're still in the incubator, has had its advantages. But some clinics actually charge extra when they put them in that machine, but big clinics now are just using them as a routine process. And now adding in on top of that the AI score, so that an embryologist can look at both at their view of the embryo and the AI score to help pick the right embryo. There's a very large randomized controlled trial that has just been completed. We don't know the results yet to see whether the scientist is as good as the computer. We'll see.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.